Hey loves, welcome back. Happy 2021. Hopefully things will be better this year than 2020. I am krisdoesbeauty. For those who are not familiar with me, I like to come on here and do hair videos, hairstylist videos. I'm a hairstylist here in Richmond, Virginia. I also dive into other videos. I do spooky, horror related. I know it looks like my hand's dead. Been playing with the hair color today. That will be another video that we are getting into. But today I will be going over the different things that my clients need to know and that I try and make all my clients aware of when we go into booking fantasy fun colors like we have here. Bright reds, blues, purples, orange, anything out of this world and not in the natural hair color. I will be making this a series, so please stay tuned for all the other videos. I will go into each color specifically and make videos about each and every one of them. So before we roll in with that, if you are new here, welcome. So go ahead, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe and bell notification because subscriptions don't really do much on here anymore. And then I'll give you a second. Did you do it? All right, let's roll in. World of fantasy colors, for anyone who is not familiar with it, or for those of us who do know, it is definitely a very big commitment. These sort of colors, they are semi-permanent, which means you don't mix them up with the developer like you do your traditional hair colors or even demi-permanents, things of that sort. It's just a standalone dye, and in order to have the pigments show up as bright as you want, you do have to have your hair as light as you possibly can, which yes, that does mean that bleaching is involved, unfortunately. It's just one of the things you have to do. So I don't typically recommend these sort of colors for anyone who doesn't want to deal with the commitment of bleaching their hair on a regular basis, refreshing it because of the nature of it. It's that semi-permanent, it fades much quickly. It's not a permanent color. It's not you put it on and boom, you're done. You have to keep up with this, and it really depends on how you take care of it, what your hair type is, how well your hair just grabs onto the pigment. All of these things factor into it. Some people's hair loves to take in all of the pigment, some people's don't. It also could depend on if you have a redder color in your hair. Red tends to kind of hold on into your hair better than a blue pigment or something of that sort. Anyone who does not want to bleach their hair, this is not a color for you unless your hair is naturally platinum blonde. It's not going to be the color for you. It's not a one and done type scenario. You do have to keep on with the bleaching and just coloring it overall. Things that you can do to kind of extend the life of your fantasy color. 1, shampoo with sulfate-free shampoo and conditioner. We at Bombshell carry all products sulfate-free. We have Unite, Saints and Sinners, and our newest product line, Leaf and Flower. All three of these have sulfate-free shampoo, which is color-safe shampoo and conditioner that will help get any chemicals, sulfates, things of that sort. It's going to strip away the color completely, and it's just not good for the integrity and shine of your hair overall. Number 2, make sure you shampoo with cold water. Anytime you get your hair wet, you want it as cold as it possibly can be. When your hair is exposed to warmth, it opens up what we call the hair cuticle, and that is where the color lives in. So just think about it that way. Whenever something is warmed up, it opens, which causes it to shed potentially. And that's why if you're using warm, hot water on your hair in the shower, especially with these sort of colors, you're going to see that bleeding out because your hair cuticle is just wide open, thus causing it to bleed all over the place. Where if you do room temperature or preferably as cold of water you can take on your hair, it keeps everything nice and shut. As uncomfortable as it is, it's uncomfortable for your cuticle, therefore it's not bleeding all over the place. They do have color depositing shampoos, mainly conditioners. Those are going to be your best friend. Consult your stylist and see if you need a color depositing shampoo, conditioner, or stick with a color that just, you could go dark with it, and then as you shampoo over time, it could brighten up and eventually go into a pastel before you refresh. Just things like that, but always cold is key. You can't shampoo your hair every day unless it's a compromise you want to make, but at that point you will be coloring or having to refresh your hair by the end of week 2. So do yourself a favor, do not shampoo every day. We shouldn't be shampooing every day anyway. Your body produces natural oils that will promote shine and just good integrity in your hair. Everyone needs to go at least every other day in between shampoos, just have that natural body oil going throughout the hair. Yes, your hair will get oilier if you are used to shampooing every day. It's just the nature of the beast. But as you do start that process, you will reset your oil glands essentially, and you won't produce as much oil by the end of it. So it is something, it will get worse before it gets better, but you can do this. And at first, if you need to combat any oil that we get around our hairline, scalp, things like that, dry shampoo is your best friend. I recommend Unite's brand new dry shampoo, especially. I like the one for volume because I like any volume I can get with my fine hair. And what you do is less is more. Spritz it at your root when needed, let it sit, do its thing. Get ready with your makeup, get ready for the day, and then at the very end, I like a boar bristle comb because that distributes the product evenly among your hair. Just brush that in, and then you're good to go. People tend to not like dry shampoo when they are using too much of it, therefore you get a producty look, a product buildup on it. It starts to get gray, white, has a gross feel to it. You're doing it wrong. You need to spritz less is more, root, let it do its thing. Some people like to spritz it at night, therefore you have all night long for that oil to really be set in with that product and to be absorbed. Some people like to blow dry their hair when they have a nice blowout. They just spritz on that dry shampoo then, and it works for them. You can kind of play around and see what works for you, but dry shampoo is key in extending the life and not shampooing every day. Ocean water as well as pool water, the chemicals in that, and just swimming in general, getting your hair wet, even in the rain, will and can affect your hair color. Anytime it gets wet, like I said, it's gonna want to expand and start bleeding, especially in anything with sort of chemicals in it. Even a saltwater pool, I would just avoid at all costs. Go in maybe to your waist or shoulders here, put that hair up if you need to. It's not fashionable as it is, but it will save your hair putting a little bonnet or a bandana wrapped around your head. Keep it nice and protected. But yes, anytime you get it wet, especially in chemicals like chlorine, it will fade out just like blondes have the issue with it going green. Same sort of deal. Just avoid any water swimming activities at all costs. And if you're a swimmer, probably isn't the hair type for you. 5, when your hair color is nice and fresh, there is a possibility that it could potentially stain white clothing, sheets, pillowcases, towels, things of that sort, especially with the red. I've had so many pink towels, pillowcases, all of these sorts. Do yourself a favor, just get a black silk satin pillowcase. The silk's better for your skin anyway. Or just be aware that that first time it's going to bleed, it's going to shed out a little bit because that first go around shampoo or rinse out once you've got the fantasy color on, we don't want to rinse it. I mean, we are rinsing the product out of your scalp and everything like that, so it's not built up. But as far as color, it's just the nature of it. It's gonna shed a little bit because, like I said, it's a shedding color. That's just kind of the way it rolls. We do still recommend that with all the precautions, you will most likely need to refresh your fantasy color, depending on what it is. Anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks is about the timeline that we give our clients. Now, the process for fantasy color, it is a very long process, and especially with me in particular, I'm just a very OCD stylist and I take my time with things, but taking that time will also cost you. The way I do it, and most of us do it at Bombshell, is we do a set price where you have an hourly rate. So however many hours you're tacking on there. And typically what I always do is I always book myself at least 4 to 5 hours, just give myself some wiggle room, but that is typically the time that we will spend in the chairs, anywhere between 4 to 5 at most. Because the nature of it is you have to go in, bleach everything up, and then let that process, shampoo that out, go in, blow dry, completely dry before putting that direct Fantasy Color Pulp Riot dye all over, because of the way it just needs to set. It needs to be completely dry. So then you apply that, let that sit 30 minutes, then rinse it out, and then style, blow dry, do a haircut if that's something you're doing. All of these things add up, and it's just a long process. It's a double process. Literally, you go into 2 different color services when you get fun fantasy colors done, especially when you start adding in more colors. Even like what I have, I just have 1, but do 2 colors in there, a color melt, things of that sort. That is going to take some time, but I think that about wraps it up for fantasy colors. I feel like I could go on and on for days, just because fantasy colors, they're fun, they're great, they're really fun and fashionable. It's just a really great statement piece to express yourself, show your style, your creativity. They're awesome, but they do come at a price and a time limit. I mean, they are very, very much high commitment, high costing services just because of the nature of them. So, all right, that will do it for this video. And like I said, I will be going into each color of the rainbow for the most part, specifically because some are easier to achieve than others. Let me know if you have any comments, questions. I know this topic is definitely one that there's just a lot to it. And if I don't know the answer, even myself, I can always ask one of my mentors, maybe get them on here if you would like to get some more feedback on some different colors. All right, everyone, so that is my video. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, and I will see you on my next video.